right, well, welcome to another episode of Gold Rush here on the JTR Podcast Network. This is Mark Redman coming to you from the Noodles position in Champaign, Illinois, joined as always by my buddy, Hoot Supreme, Big U Bangy, Jabari Sinclair.
Yo, what's
And
up?
I feel like we're getting back into our routine, Bari.
Trying
Yeah,
to.
we take 2 months off involuntarily, and that throws you off. But
Just a little bit.
maybe a little bit, but it's all good. You got to pick our episode this time, and you went with the Smackdown Tag Team Championship from 2016 to 2024, the Big Blue Nickels, as I like to call it.
Yep.
And there's a good number of teams to talk about here.
Yeah. I didn't realize so many teams had held the championship.
Yeah, well, it helps. The championships tend to be hot potatoes these days, so
Right.
8 years they can add up. But a couple quick things about these titles. Of course, it's an offshoot of the big pennies, if you want to keep the
Oh,
money metaphor going. And when the brand split happens, SmackDown gets the blue ones, Raw gets the red ones, of course. It's a JMR design belt, and the SmackDown version debuted August 23rd, 2016, and was retired on April 19th of last year after WrestleMania. And first champion was Heath Slater and Rhino, as we all know. And the last ones were A-Town Down Under, Theory and Waller.
Waller. Yep.
Yeah. And not for nothing, I do like the belts that they replaced them with.
Yeah, me too. They look like classic tag team championships.
Yeah. Now, I admit the silver version, the Raw SmackDowns, I liked way better than the copper ones.
Yes. Oh, yes. That silver finish just looks a whole lot better than that copper finish.
Yeah, so much that you almost wound up procuring that particular belt last month.
Yeah, and I've noticed something about my collection. I've become quite the tag team belt collector.
Yeah, I've
So,
got a few of those too. I got and I know you're still sniffing around for my WCW tag belt that I have.
Yes, I am.
But yeah, because I'm the same way. I got the NWA tag belt, the blue one from the '80s. I got the old Ring of Honor tag team belt.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorites. And then I have shamefully a 2mm WWF tag team belt.
Well,
The Reggie
can't
Parks.
win them all. You can't win them all. One of my tag team belts is 2mm, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, it's just a point of shame for any self-respecting belt collector to have a 2mm.
Exactly.
4mm or bust. That's what we always say, Bari. If we even
That's
have a
what we
T-shirt
say.
that says that. Look at that.
Hey, looky there.
All right. Most reigns with this belt is the New Day with 7. The Usos have the longest reign at 622 days, and of course that's counting when they were undisputed tag champs.
Mhm.
The shortest reign was the New Day with 3 days. So when we get into the championship history, there's going to be a lot of the Usos and there's going to be a lot of New Day on this one.
A lot of them. I watched several New Day Uso matches.
I could watch those. I could watch those teams go all day.
Yeah, no, they work together so well.
Whenever Jay's run-ins with this world title, I want to see him and Jimmy get back together and maybe they be the ones that go after the New Day and these Raw tag belts.
I like it.
I got a feeling that there'd be a pop if the Usos got rolling again.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I think there's a good number of fans that miss the Usos. I mean, Jay's over as hell right now, but
exactly.
I prefer Usos to either one of them as a single.
Singles, yeah. And I think I feel that way about any identical twin team. You guys are right. You guys were born together, so you guys were made to wrestle together.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get into this championship history here. And like we said, the first team to win these was Heath and Rhino. And they did this at Backlash on September 11th, 2016. Let's see. They beat the Usos in the finals of an 8-team tournament almost said 8-man tournament.
Very interesting 18 tournament.
But I miss when they would have the tournament be a one-night thing.
Yeah. Just devote the entire show to the tournament.
Right. I get why they split it out just to get content for all their TV, because Lord knows they have a lot of hours to fill on television.
Exactly.
Heath and Rhino. This was around time, and you commented on this when we first started talking about doing this belt, just how over Heath was when this title came around.
Exactly.
And it got me thinking, and you know who it reminded me of, Heath's push at this point? 2006 Eric Young in TNA.
Okay. Yeah.
Or Don't Fire Eric, and he was getting that big groundswell. Same thing.
Exactly.
I got kids. I mean, he had the fans behind him.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's always something that the fans can get behind. If they can get behind it, they're going right. You're going to get pushed.
Mm-hmm. Why are people shooting off fireworks in broad daylight?
Jesus.
Savages.
Yeah.
But Rhino, I guess, was a thrown together partner for Heath. He didn't really have anybody to team with.
No, he didn't. And I remember the build up to that tournament. They actually had a match, and Rhino had beat him, and I kind of took pity on him. Then it was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll be your damn partner.
Mm-hmm. And 9 years later, they're still teaming up on the Indies.
Yeah, making a little change still.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Well, hello, Noodles.
She's been. I don't think she likes the fireworks. Just hide the butthole there. So Heath and Rhino, you can sit. You're fine. Heath and Rhino hold these belts until December 4th, 2016, in the TLC pay-per-view, and they dropped the belts to Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, and they wound up going Freebird rule with Luke Harper.
Yeah,
as a 3-man team.
Yeah, I thought this was a very interesting tag team.
Mm-hmm.
What this was. Yeah.
Orton always seemed like he stuck out like a sore thumb. Would you stop sticking your tail in my face? We're trying to do a professional show here, Noodles. Oh yeah, now you're gonna fall.
This was the time where Orton was kind of like, well, I can't beat you, so I might as well just join you.
Right. And it was also the build to WrestleMania the next year when he would beat Bray for the world title.
Yep.
Bray and Orton and Harper hold the belts from December until December 27th, 2016, and they would drop the belts to American Alpha. I miss American Alpha.
Me too. They were one hell of a tag team, man.
In hindsight, Gable's haircut was horrific.
Yes,
but it was a Smackdown in Rosemont, Illinois, at the Allstate Arena. This was a fatal 4-way tag team elimination match, also involving Heath and Rhino and the Usos. Wait, hang on. Heath and Rhino, the Usos, and Harper and Orton. Okay. I had to finish reading, then I wouldn't be so confused. They won by last eliminating the Wyatts. So that's when they added these belts to their NXT titles that they had before. And then not long after that was when Jordan became Kurt Angle's son and went to Raw, and
the rest is history.
Yeah, I don't get why they split them up to this day. I mean,
either.
that Angle went over like a fart in church.
Yes,
Jordan got buried by that. The fans just shit all over it.
Yeah, he smiled too damn much too.
Too smiley, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, American Alpha holds the titles for a few months, for 83 days. And then they would lose them to the Usos. They get their first run with them.
Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary.
Indeed.
Yes.
They have them for 123 days. They won them on a SmackDown in Uncasville, Connecticut. I got to remind myself what the state abbreviations are sometimes. And they hold the belts until Battleground in Philly on July 23rd. And I'll give you one guess who they lose the titles to, Bari.
Everybody, don't be sour.
Yep. I say these two teams are kind of the Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express of WWE.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Kingston and Woods won the match, but Big E was also recognized, obviously, because they always did the Freebird rule. And then they hold the belts until August 20th on the SummerSlam kickoff show, not even on the pay-per-view, just on the kickoff show.
Yeah, when they used to do matches on the kickoff.
And Big E and Woods lost the belts to the Usos again. Then 23 days later, on the September 12th SmackDown in Vegas, the Usos lose them back to the New Day in a Sin City street fight. Sounds familiar. I think they had that at WrestleMania.
Yes, they did.
But this was Big E and Kofi. But again, yeah, Woods always recognized in the Freebird rule. Then October 8th, I warned everybody about this. They lost the belts back to the Usos at Hell in a Cell, inside the Hell in a Cell match. It was Big E and Woods. And then we're out of the loop a little bit because then the Usos would go on to lose the belts to the Bludgeon Brothers, the Brody and Hanson of our generation.
Yes,
I was a fan.
Big brawling brute bastards
with beards. That's a lot of beats
with beards. Yeah,
it's like bullpen bowling or whatever it was.
Ben Wallace.
Yes. So they won at WrestleMania in New Orleans on April 8th. It was a triple threat, also with the New Day. Big E and Kofi.
And they just absolutely decimated both tag
Crushed
teams.
them.
Nobody had a damn chance against those two big bastards. Jesus Christ, they just destroyed them.
Yeah. And Rowan, like when the Wyatt Six ever make an appearance on television nowadays, he's still carrying that hammer around.
Yeah, that's paying homage.
And I think he's got Harper's mask on the end of it.
Yeah.
So a cool little Easter egg for all you Wyatt fans there. They would hold them until August, so they had a long run with 135-day reign with these belts, and then they would go on to lose to the New Day at SmackDown. It was a no DQ match. It was Kofi and Woods, and I really remember this match. This is one of my favorite. This is going to make it onto my list later on for favorite matches.
Yeah, it was a pretty good match.
I think it was the main event, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. New Day holds belts until October 16th on the 1000th SmackDown episode, and they lost to a team I know you're familiar with.
The Bar. We are the Bar. We are the Bar.
I like this team.
Yeah, I'm about to say something about Shambo and Cesaro being together was just fucking magic, man. I mean, they were great opponents, and they were even better tag team partners.
Yeah, you look at what happened. I loved Cesaro when he was teaming with Hero, obviously, Kings of Wrestling. But other than that, this is the best team that he was ever in, and I'm counting the friggin' Death Riders in that list. These guys are just natural together as partners.
Yeah.
Sheamus's haircut a little unusual, but that's all right. They had a good run with these. They held them for 102 days after they did beat Big E and Xavier. Seems like every time the New Day loses, Xavier's involved. That's back when they didn't quite. I don't think they quite knew what they had with Xavier Woods.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Bar holds the titles until the Rumble in Phoenix on January 27th. And then they would lose them to The Miz and Shane O'Mac.
Oh boy, at the Rumble. Yep.
I wasn't wild about this team, to be honest with you. I like The Miz, and I got no real beef with Shane, but it's something that always just struck me as weird whenever Shane would hold a belt. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. You're the boss's boy. You don't need to be holding any damn belts.
That's like old territory philosophy. Vern Gagne would put the tag belts on Greg because he knew he wasn't going to bail on him.
Exactly. Or when they had Shane win that Best in the World tournament, that was
he wasn't even in.
Too. Yeah,
The Miz was hurt, so Shane just stepped in. They should have just I don't even remember who his opponent was. They should have.
Ziggler.
It was Ziggler. Yeah,
Yeah,
they should have just ordered the match to Ziggler. Ziggler was a heel. He could have gotten heat.
exactly.
Miz and Shane hold the belts for a little under a month, and then they drop them to the Usos, and that's the night that Shane turned on Miz, and they started their build to WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
April 9th, 2019, the Usos would lose the belts to the Hardys. So just more of the mission to get the Hardys to hold every version of the tag team championships in the world.
Yep.
I think they're close. I think they just got to come back up and with the NXT belts and the 2 WWE belts, and they're still.
Yep, that's it.
They had to vacate the belts on April 30th because, big surprise, Jeff Hardy was hurt. Suffered a knee injury that required surgery, so they would have a tournament. Wait, no, not a tournament. I misread that. They had a match for the vacant championships with the Usos against Daniel Bryan and Rowan, and Daniel Bryan and Rowan won the match. They didn't bother with a hemp strap on this one. It was just
Thank God they didn't. Right. It was good enough just calling him the new Daniel Bryan. We don't need to
it's
turn
like the
your
new
belt
Jam
into,
Brady for you old folk.
Exactly. We don't need you running around here with a belt made of hay bales and shiny rocks some kindergartner painted.
That is a sticking point for a lot of belt marks. Is that hemp belt?
Yeah, and can you believe somebody bought that damn thing at the expo? Remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Somebody bought that,
and they paid probably the price of a regular belt. I mean, you would think you would cut that thing down to like $150 or something.
Right. I was being nosy, and $400 is what he paid for it. Not I, said the cat.
No. Give me one that's shiny.
Yeah, please.
like this one.
Yeah, that beauty back there.
Oh yeah, so nice. So Rowan and Bryan hold the belts until Extreme Rules, July 14th, 2019. In a triple threat match, the New Day would get the win, but Blast from the Past, Bari, Heavy Machinery was the other team in this. Otis and Tucker.
Tucky.
Yeah. This was Woods and Kofi, or I'm sorry, Woods and Big E, because Kofi was the WWE champ at the time and not recognized as part of the tag team champions. It says retroactively, Kofi is credited for this title reign under the Freebird rule, but at the time it was just the two of them.
Right.
Okay. Then we get into the good stuff here, because then they would go on to lose the belts to the Revival.
Yes. What could have been.
What could have been. They beat Big E and Woods. Because this was when the Revival was with Orton. They're doing the FTRKO.
Mm-hmm.
Which those guys, say what you want, they can find a way to wedge their name into any 6-man team in the world.
Exactly.
But I was always a fan of the Revival. Sometimes their booking decisions have me scratching my head these days, but as far as talent goes, I mean, you can't doubt the talent.
Right. From either one of them.
No. Dash has
flips,
maybe the best pile driver in the game.
Exactly.
I'm surprised this was the only time that they held these belts, and they held them for about 54 days before they dropped them back to the New Day. This time it was Big E and Kofi. Woods was hurt, and Kofi had dropped the belt to Brock by this point. So they would go on to Super Showdown in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and Big E and Kofi would lose the belts on February 27th to Miz and John Morrison.
Those cats making a return.
I liked their run, like their first run as a tag team, Bari, back in like 2009, 2010-ish. But it just, something seemed off this time around.
I think that Morrison had been away from the mainstream ring for so long and had been doing indie shit for so long that he just kind of lost a step.
And it seemed like, and I know they're tight, I know they're buddies, but it seemed like maybe they weren't into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Miz had already gotten over as a single. Morrison, I think, was trying to, but he'd been champion TNA and everywhere else he'd been at. and he came in and they just put him right back in the tag team again. But now he's friggin' with QT on AEW, so
Exactly. Ring of Honor.
it's not even AEW, it's Ring of Honor. So yeah, it is what it is there. So Miz and Morrison dropped the belts back to the New Day April 17th on SmackDown in a triple threat match. It was a triple threat match with single people from the tag teams, because this was the Thunderdome era.
Yep.
So this was a triple threat match between Big E, Jey Uso, and The Miz, and Big E pinned The Miz to win it.
Mm-hmm.
So they were throwing all kinds of shit to the wall at this point. To see
It was the Thunderdome era, so they had to do something, I guess.
Yeah. New Day holds the belts until July 19th at the Horror Show at Extreme Rules. That's the full name of the pay-per-view.
Oh.
And they had a tables match and dropped the belts to Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. Another team I liked. I thought this was a decent team.
Yeah, they went together good.
Yeah. I forget, this was when Sammy was like their mouthpiece, right?
The Great Liberator.
Yeah. Dressing like Castro.
Exactly.
Then they would hold the belts until October 9th on SmackDown, and they would lose them to Kofi and Xavier. And then after this, they were drafted to the Raw brand and split from Big E. And here's a controversial topic here, Bari. As a result of the 2020 WWE Draft, the New Day, Kofi, and Xavier were drafted to Raw, while the Raw Tag Team Champion Street Profits were drafted to SmackDown. To keep the branded championships on the respective brands, WWE official Adam Pearce had the two teams exchange championships. So, Street Profits get the SmackDown belts, but this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, Bari. I don't think we've ever actually discussed this.
Right.
We swapperoo, you know?
Yeah, we never have. And in my opinion, right, if you don't have time to book a match and put a story together, then that's fine. Just switch them. Whatever.
Here's my take. This is why I don't like that the champions are involved in the draft.
Exactly. That's why they
should have just been exempt,
like it was originally in the draft.
Right. Except for the back then they weren't branded for each show, so they could come and go back and forth as they wanted to, but they just had it to where the world title was the one that could go back and forth. Which, well, that's a discussion for another day. But
right,
yeah, when you had a Raw specific championship, and they did the same thing with the women's title with Becky and Charlotte too. So it's just, there's a lot of people that, and Dave LaGreca is one of them, just saying that it devalued the championships, made it seem meaningless, that they were just swapped around without a match and all that stuff. And
right, no, and I get that, and in a way it does. But like I said, if you don't have time to build a story and you're just doing this to move on for purposes, then it's fine.
If it was me, I would have just had somebody drop the belt to somebody on the show. You know what I mean? Like that's what they did with the U.S. title a few years ago when Jinder had it, and he got drafted to SmackDown, but then later on in the show, he dropped the belt to Jeff Hardy, who had got drafted to Raw.
Yeah.
So that kept the belt there. So it's a whole thing. It's something to be discussed in the for eternity, I suppose. But the Street Profits would hold the belts until January 8th, SmackDown in St. Petersburg. And I really like this team. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call him, Rudolph. These two.
I called him Rugler.
I'm sorry. I like Rudolph better.
Yeah, Rudolph is good, but Rugler rolls off the tongue.
Does it though? These two just immediately clicked as a tag team.
Yeah, they did.
They were so cool, so fun to watch there. Pretty much until Rude got hurt, they were still teaming up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Ziggler got released. Now he's Nick Nemeth in TNA. But
And
they
he's
held the belts for 127 days, so they got a good long run with it up until May 16th at WrestleMania Backlash. They can't settle on a set name for some of these shows.
exactly.
And this is when they dropped the belts to Ray and Dirty Dom when he was just
Ugh.
clean Dom. No mullet, no mustache.
Boy, look at that face.
Uh huh. He was a baby face, wasn't he?
Boy, howdy.
And,
Looking like it's Daddy Eddie.
yeah. Well, now he really looks like his daddy Eddie.
I'm telling you.
But this is still when Dom was pretty green, and I think this was summer school. He gets to team up with his dad and watch him and work with guys like Rudolph or
Exactly.
Rude and Dolph.
Right. He had just cut his teeth.
Yeah.
So and this was the time where everybody was doubting him, like,
Oh, they were shitting all over him. I
is
thought,
this for Dominic? Right, this baby face white meat bullshit.
yeah, I was honest. I was surprised that he didn't start in NXT just to get more seasoning. But I mean, the results speak for themselves. Look what he's doing now.
Exactly.
He's the best deal in the company. His
Yeah.
work has improved incredibly high level.
Exactly. And he's doing nothing but getting better every week.
Yep. And he's pulling the trim too. I mean, goes from Rhea to Liv. Apparently, Roxy's sniffing around.
Okay. Yeah, right. Have you seen his real life
I've
wife?
seen his
Hubba
real
hubba.
wife at home. He's
Yeah.
got that Latino
Oh,
heat, as they say.
Latino heat.
Yes. The Mysterios hold the belts until July. Again, kickoff show, Money in the Bank. Not even on the pay per view. But they would drop the belts to the Usos on July 18th, 21. And this is when they start the big long reign here. And on the May 20th, 2022 episode of SmackDown, so they had almost held these belts for a year by this point. The
Mm-hmm.
Usos beat Raw Tag Team Champions RK Bro in a winner take all match, becoming recognized as the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. The WWE's official title history incorrectly lists their reign as ending on April 2nd, 2023, which is not true because it's actually April 1st, 2023.
Exactly. When they lost to KO and Sammy.
Uh huh. And there they are there with both belts.
Hell of a tag team match.
Yeah, for a while I was wondering why they didn't just get a new belt and separate them, but then of course it wound up. We'll get to it. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But yeah, Kevin and Sammy main evented Mania with the Usos and tore the house down. It was a really good match. And yeah, the Wikipedia, and they're never wrong. So this match was also for the Usos Raw Tag Team Championship. So they're not even like the undisputed thing is just for ring introductions, apparently.
Right.
They hold the belts until September at Payback in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A Steel City street fight against the Judgment Day, Priest and Finn. And I enjoyed these two as a team.
Yeah, I like these two. These are two of my favorites.
Yeah. This was a Steel City street fight that was also for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's Raw Tag Team Championship. So, and
just to be clear,
just to be clear, they would hold the belts for a month, October 7th, 2023, at Fastlane in Indianapolis. They would drop them to Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. In the tradition of Dusty and Manny Fernandez.
Exactly.
This match also for the Judgment Day's Raw Tag Team Championship. That's getting repetitive, so I'm not going to say it anymore. They hold them for about 2 weeks, and actually more like 10 days. Then on Raw, they drop them to back to the Judgment Day with an assist from Solo, and I think Jimmy, if I remember right. I think the Bloodline was involved in that.
Sounds about right.
And then Judgment Day holds it until Mania, WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I said Philadelphia. There's a six-pack tag team ladder match for both belts, but they separated them though. So one team walked out with the Raw belts. That was Miz and Truth, and then A-Town Down Under gets the SmackDown belts. There they are there.
Mm-hmm.
couple shit-eating grins there. I don't know why he's holding a shoe. Oh, he drank the water or whatever was out of the shoe when he won
Yeah.
the idiot. Uh, so this match had Judgment Day, A-Town Down Under, Awesome Truth, DIY, The New Day of Kofi and Xavier, and Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate.
Yep.
Both belts were hung separate by the ring. I'm reading this is repetitive, but yeah. So A-Town Down Under wound up with the SmackDown belts, and then they had them when the belt was renamed to be the WWE Tag Team Championship, and we got the new design that they're using today. So officially, these two are the last ones to hold this belt.
Officially.
All right. So let's get into notable feuds. I got 5 that I'm going to go with, and then let me know if I miss one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the obvious one, which is New Day and Usos.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's transcended all kinds of belt designs, going back to the pennies.
Okay.
The Usos and Kevin and Sammy, that build up with Sammy leaving the bloodline and everything. I thought that was a really good story.
It was.
New Day and the Revival.
Mm-hmm.
When you throw in Randy and Kofi in there, they got some 6-man matches out of it. I threw in American Alpha versus the Usos because that's when the Usos turned heel and they jacked up. Was it Jordan's knee?
Yeah.
In that when they did that half crab with the stomp off the top rope that looked nasty. And then kind of an oddball. I'm going Bludgeon Brothers and New Day.
Okay. I'll agree.
Yeah. And am I missing any?
You are not missing. No. Nope. Because I got the same ones.
Okay. Well, let's move on here. We'll talk favorite matches. There you go. Gotta get my graphic up. I mentioned it. New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers from SmackDown is right up there for me. The Usos and Sammy and Kevin from WrestleMania. And then I've got Rude and Ziggler against the Mysterios when the Mysterios won the belts.
All right. I have 3 to add to that list.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Usos, American Alpha from the March 21st edition of SmackDown.
Okay.
The New Day versus the Bar, October 16th, 2018, SmackDown.
Okay.
And then Revival versus the New Day, November 8th, 2019, SmackDown.
Very nice.
Yeah. And that's because I watched those matches today.
I appreciate the homework.
Yeah.
All right. Best greatest champions. There we go. And I've got 4 listed as individuals, and then I've got my top 5 teams. So individually, Jey Uso, because he's held him 6 times. Rowan, going across 2 teams. Miz, same reason. And Cesaro, same reason.
Okay. All right. I didn't have any individual champions. I just had the 2 tag teams, the New Day and the Usos.
Okay. Well, I'm going to throw in Judgment Day, even though they were technically undisputed tag team champions, but they held these belts, though.
Right.
They had a good run. Ziggler and Rude, and then Bludgeon Brothers.
Rugler. All right. You put in Rugler and the Bludgeon Brothers.
I can't get behind Rugler. It's still Rudolph to me. We should have mentioned that to Ziggler when we saw him at the Expo. I was like, why didn't you call your team with Rudolph?
Yeah. I prefer Rugler.
we would have been asked to leave. Oh my goodness. All right. So that is everything we have to cover on this belt, Bari, and I believe that means it's my turn to pick for next week.
Yeah, it is.
Well, next episode. I don't know if it's going to be next week, but
yeah.
So I've given it some thought. I was between 3, and I picked the one I think we can get the most mileage out of. Immediately. I will tell you, one of them I was thinking was the NWA US Tag Team Championships.
Ooh, meaty.
But Yeah, but I'm saving that for another time because
Okay.
I want to go with going to TNA for this one, and we're going to go with the TNA World Championship, the
Oh,
one right after the NWA title got removed.
so the Wildcat.
The Wildcat. I love this belt. Why they decided to go with the friggin' horror show that was the Jeff Hardy belt instead of this one
Oh,
is beyond me.
oh, I'm quite sure we'll discuss that.
Oh, we will.
Hmm.
And I even like the one that came after this one, the one that looked almost like a UFC belt.
Yeah.
But this one I think is my favorite TNA belt, world title belt. I mean, they had some really solid belt designs over the years in TNA.
They really have. Very unique looking.
That Legends Championship that Booker T had,
Hmm.
the red one, I always thought looked sharp.
Yeah.
Our tag belts look cool. We could get some mileage out of TNA on
Yeah,
some of
yeah,
these
yeah, yeah. We'll dive off into TNA these next couple of
because
episodes.
because I think we've only done one TNA belt, and that's the original X Division title.
Yeah, yeah. I'll pick a TNA belt to do
Yeah,
next time. Yeah,
yeah,
be fun.
yeah. All right. So that's what we have to look forward to. I think we can call this an episode. Barry, what do you think?
Yeah, we can under 40. Hey, not
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. It's still daylight on a Thursday. This will be dropping
Exactly.
on YouTube tomorrow on Friday the 23rd. But yeah, I think we did justice to this one. It's not our favorite tag team championship belt, but all things considered, wasn't bad.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us this week on Gold Rush. Until next time, for Bari, this is Red reminding y'all life is hard, work stiff. We'll see you guys next time.